Hello and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Amy Berger. This is our third and final episode of Conversations with Amy Berger. And today we're going to be chatting about 4 things that affect weight loss other than food. How are you doing, Amy?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How about you?
Very good, thank you. And so good to have you back on. And I must say, we've learned so much from you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and for the last couple of episodes. We truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Over the last 2 weeks, we've learned, a lot from you. We've covered some important topics. And today we're going to be chatting about the 4 things that affect weight loss other than food. So let's kick it off right away with your number one reason for affecting weight loss other than food.
Okay, before I do that, we're going to do a little intro because I want people to understand that, yes, other things definitely affect weight loss besides food, but food is the big, it's the mountain, it's the major thing. For the most part, if you get the food right, the weight will move. And so if you're stuck in a fat loss stall or you're, in a long-term plateau, I would look at your food first. Make sure there's nothing else you need to change about your diet before you try to tinker with this other stuff, because the diet really does have the most power. But there are other things that affect weight loss and fat loss. And it's hard to know which one to address first. I guess might as well just start with one. There's a lot of different medications that either cause weight gain or can make it difficult to lose weight, or to lose, if you're trying to lose. And so it's many of these medications will have weight gain listed as a side effect. So you can just look up a medication you're taking and see if that's a side effect. Or also keep in mind, and I've heard several doctors say this, the human body is a wacky thing sometimes, and you might have a reaction or an effect from a drug that's really rare or that most people don't have, and it's like not even listed as a common side effect, and maybe weight gain or difficulty losing weight is one of them. So just keep in mind that medications can do interesting things to you. And
So,
and we would hope that as you follow a low carb or keto diet for a long time, you might be able to reduce and eventually stop those meds with your doctor's blessing, of course. But while you're still on them, be aware of whether anything you're taking can interfere with weight loss.
so besides the fact that some medications actually have got a chemical or some sort of reaction that actually will help, people to hold on to their weight. Water weight, for example, could be one of them. What about the fact that some of these medications actually have carbs in them? That's something else.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, I think, but it depends, especially if you're taking a liquid of some sort or a powder, they can have some carbs in them. I usually, if it's a capsule or a tablet, even if there's some kind of binder or filler that might be, just some kind of carbohydrate, the amount you're taking, it's so minuscule that I would say it's negligible, but you might be taking something that is a liquid or a powder in a bulk form that can do that. And of course, apart from the weight, certain medications like steroids, prednisone, for example, whether it's injections or pills or sprays, they can cause your blood sugar to be higher. And if your blood sugar is higher, that's a lot of things are not going to go as well as you would hope. And so, yeah, and that can affect the weight too, of course, but the meds can affect blood sugar definitely.
So that's number one. We've got 3 more to cover. What's your number two?
Number two is my a very strong passion area for me, and that's low thyroid. And there's many different kinds of low thyroids. Some are autoimmune, some are not. But your thyroid hormones are what they call the master regulators of your metabolic rate. So even if you are still following your keto diet and exercising and having all these great lifestyle things, if you're it's kind of like your body's thermostat and the rate at which you burn through energy and calories. if that's kind of set on low, like power save mode, you're going to have a really, really hard time losing weight, no matter how disciplined you are with diet or exercise or anything else. And some people who have thyroid problems know they do. I see a ton of undiagnosed thyroid problems. And I'm a nutritionist. I can't diagnose anyone, but I can give them some information that I think their symptoms and their paperwork suggest to me. Oh, maybe get this tested with your doctor. So I think there's a lot of people that have low thyroid and don't know. And then an issue that I see all the time with people too is they know they have a thyroid issue. They're on medication, but they still have all the signs and symptoms they had before. So that either the type or the dose of medication they're on isn't getting them where they need to go. And I cannot tell you how common that is.
Just a quick one while we're on this topic. If somebody suspects that they have a thyroid issue, is there a simple test that they can go and do to find out, or is it more complicated than that?
Yeah, so I don't know. I know ADAPT has an international audience. I'm not sure what's readily available outside the US, but at least for the US, I recommend a comprehensive thyroid panel. And that's very important. Don't just ask for a thyroid test. Don't just tell your doctor, can you check my thyroid? You need to insist on a comprehensive thyroid panel, because there's like 5 or 6 different thyroid related hormones that should be looked at, because when you just ask for a thyroid test, many doctors will only order 1 or 2 of these. And it's so common for those 1 or 2 things to be normal. But there's if you would dig deeper into those other hormones, you'll see an imbalance big time, but you miss that if you only test the 2 most common and conventional things. And so when I said, there's a lot of people that don't know they have a thyroid problem, they might suspect it. They might have even been tested and the doctor said your thyroid's normal, but that normal is based on that very, very limited testing, where if they had dug a little deeper, they would have seen the issues. So the comprehensive thyroid panel, and for people outside the US, it's like 5 or 6 or maybe even more different. It's not just what's called your TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone, and the T4. There's a lot more than that.
Wonderful. This is great tips that you're giving us. We are halfway there. We've covered 2. Let's get to our third one.
So the third one is sleep. And, it's funny, like in modern society, we like to brag about how much we're doing, how much weight we can lift and how much money we make and how much this we do and that. And sleep is the only area where people like to brag about how little they can get by on. Like, oh, I only need 4 hours of sleep. And let's put it this way. If you don't get very much sleep and your sleep quality is poor, but you're happy with your health, you're happy with your weight, fine. Like this, great. For many people, inadequate sleep or broken sleep, meaning like you're in bed for 8 or 9 hours, but you're waking up several times and you're stirring all night, that interferes with weight loss, mostly because it changes your appetite and satiety signaling. Like most people probably know, when they're chronically sleep deprived, you're hungrier. And not only are you more hungry, you're not hungry for a grass-fed steak and roasted broccoli. You're hungry for sugar. You want donuts, you want cake, you want cookies or biscuits or whatever they're called in your country, but the thing is, and so it's much harder to resist those food cravings. But even if you still follow your low-carb keto diet, the way that your body processes food is a little different when you're sleep deprived. Just the hormonal situation is really different. And it's not always easy for people to get more sleep depending on their life circumstances, but it's one of the easiest, or simplest, I should say, not easy, simplest things you can do, because it's free. Just go to bed earlier. You don't have to buy anything special. You don't have to invest in a program. Just go to bed. Or if you do have trouble sleeping, certain supplements can help, or you can maybe even get evaluated if you think you have sleep apnea. So sleep is critical.
And that brings us to our final one, Amy. So this will round off number 4, things that will affect weight loss besides food. What is number 4?
It's a toss-up between stress and alcohol. And I'm gonna go with alcohol. Just I know we said besides diet, but let's consider alcohol as like a little outside the food. I'm a wine lover myself, and it is possible to responsibly and reasonably consume alcohol and still lose weight on a ketogenic diet. But you have to be intelligent about it. Alcohol, even if it's very low in carbs, the particular kind you're choosing, even if it's very low in carbs, it still has calories. And we said last time, I hate the C word. I hate to talk about calories, but they do matter. And when you're really struggling to lose weight, liquid calories is the easiest thing to just eliminate from your diet. It's why we don't put the butter in the coffee and load it up with oil. So alcohol is liquid calories. And we don't tend to compensate for that. Like, okay, I had a drink or two, so therefore I'm going to eat less food. We tend to drink in addition to the meal we're having or the snacks we're having. So it's just like extra energy, that it's extra calories that are coming in. And so you can consume alcohol and lose weight, but if alcohol is a regular and significant part of your life and you're really having a hard time losing weight, then cutting back is a very good, possibly helpful thing to do.
Wonderful, Amy. So let's just recap. You mentioned 4 things. First on the list was medications. Check out what medications that you're having. It could be affecting your fat loss. The next one was thyroid. And you mentioned that there's certain tests that one could do to see their thyroid function. The next important one, number 3, was sleep and getting enough sleep, even though people kind of brag about that they don't need as much sleep.
You don't want to go to sleep.
It is very important. And then finally, it was a toss-up between stress and alcohol, but you felt that alcohol was a little bit more important, or in this particular episode was a little bit more important. And that is, alcohol should be taken into consideration if you are in a fat loss stall.
Yeah, let me just add one thing. We talked about scale weight in a previous episode and how that number, it fluctuates. If you think you're in a stall, a weight loss stall or a fat loss stall, remember, if your scale weight is not moving, but your size and shape are changing, if you notice that rings are falling off you, or your clothing's getting bigger on you, you're not stalled. Your scale weight might be stalled in the sense that it's not changing, but your physique changes to your size and shape are not stalled. And so don't fix a problem you don't have. You might think you're stalled when you're actually not.
Thank you so much, Amy. We really appreciate it. That's all we have time for today, folks. Please do not forget that we have an exciting new quiz for you guys. It's a bonus for you guys today. And that is Dr. Westman and Amy's, it's off Dr. Westman and Amy's new book called End Your Carb Confusion. It's a quiz that will help you find your own personal carb threshold. And if you'd like to find that out, there'll be a link in the description. So thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about our upcoming courses, please go to adaptyourlifeacademy.com. We've got some great courses coming up. In fact, we actually have Amy Berger's The Stall Slayer coming up pretty soon. So keep your eyes out for that one. Amy, thank you so much for your time. We look forward to catching you next week.
Thank you.